process of painting means that you have to make a decision every 2 or 3 minutes, and you know, I find that slots in perfectly with the way I approach the creative process. You step onto the treadmill of a decision-making process, and it isn't until you stop painting that you actually step off that treadmill. Once you start painting, you are on that treadmill, and it is going, it's moving, and every few minutes you are faced with an artistic decision. There's no way around that, you can't get out of that. Part of my creative process is this stuff which really is hard to actually put into words how it gets into the painting, but it does get into the painting. But just exactly how it gets into the painting, I don't even know myself. But it's so important because, in a way, that turmoil and that struggle has got to be in there. You know, it's quite easy to make, you know, a load of wrong decisions in the process. And then, you know, you're in trouble because you end up with a lousy picture, you know, which you've either got to repaint or start again or do something with, or, you know, it's a horrible feeling being, you know, thrown into that sort of little window of indecision. You know, is this right? Is this wrong? Should I be doing that? Should I be doing something else? You know, I face that a lot. But I don't let it stop me working. You just got to be bullish about it and fight your way through it until you get the result. You know instinctively, you know, when the result's there. You know, sometimes I can start with the most completely improbable elements that I just chuck in just to start, and then they'll lead me. You know, they'll lead me into the point where I then start wrestling with the work, that is at that point where things begin to happen, good and bad. This is, you know, where all the decisions, one after the other, come. So you are in there wrestling with it, and something will happen, something good will happen, and you can tell. Then visually you can tell, you know, that it's happening, and it'll never happen if you're too afraid to make it happen. There's great temptation, you know, to sort of to say, oh, I daren't go any further with it, you know. But you've got to overcome that. You've got to do it. My friend, who's an artist, and he came over here last week, and he said, I was so excited to come over to the studio. He said it's the most dangerous place I've been. He said the whole place, he said, reeks of danger. Well, I hadn't quite thought of it like that, but in a way, that's what my painting's about, in a way, because, you know, life itself is terribly dangerous, terribly cruel, terribly rewarding. You know, particularly undergraduates thought that, gosh, have you been influenced by William Scott because your work is so like Scott? I would say, well, look, you know, superficially it may look a bit like Scott, but it's nothing like Scott at all. Nothing at all like Scott. And all you have to do is just think about where we both come from, where was our inspiration. Scott's inspiration was completely different to mine. And when I talk about danger, the reasoning behind a lot of my work, almost all of it really, is, you know, the human condition. Whereas, you know, for Scott, it was something completely different. And the human condition drives my work. You know, I would be lost really without that. The black paintings, you know, I suppose the actual reality is that man never learns anything. There's still the same amount of treachery and evil and you know, had a great desire, you know, to be literal with them, and a great desire to sort of almost wear my heart on my sleeve, which is, you know, really dangerous thing to do, particularly for a painter. But it's a very dodgy way to go. And so, you know, a lot of the actual wording, as much as I want to keep it, I think a lot of the wording will be painted out. But it's there in spirit. I know it's there in spirit. The onlooker might be able to get to see some of the words, but not all of them. It's sort of trying to lay bare the rawness, the raw side of the human condition, which most people don't really want to look at. This way, it's like a mirror, really, in a sense. You've got to look at it, and might even tempt you to take a look at yourself. By looking at it, you may think, oh yeah, he's had a ball here. Yeah, he's got into it, slapped it here, done this. But it's a very, very narrow line between achieving, you know, getting a good picture. Because after all, whatever the content is, at the end of the day, you're looking at a painting, and the painting is the thing that is important.